Welcome to the Popish Plot. I'm Mike.
I'm Jessica.
And I'm Nate.
It's Wacky Wednesday, and today's plot is Ash Wednesday, the beginning of the great penitential season of Lent.
Now, just a little note for everybody. While we did eat all this food, we did not eat all of it in one sitting. We are not gluttons. Well, in some things maybe, but we were not gluttonous in this.
We were not as gluttonous as it would appear from this.
Yes.
Yeah, and we did have two children that as soon as the camera stopped rolling,
And
rushed in and took punchies.
Absolutely. And also you will, if you are watching this on Ash Wednesday, you will notice that we do not have any ashes on our forehead. We have not been marked with, as some people like to refer to it, the Catholic gang sign. But that is because we tape these episodes in advance.
that way you can see them on the day.
Yes. So for you, it is now, or was at some point in time in the past, Ash Wednesday. For us, Ash Wednesday has not yet arrived. So we will be,
We'll be there on Ash Wednesday.
Yes.
Jess is basically going to be chained to the computer all day long. I've been scheduled to distribute ashes. Oh, we'll be there.
So I'm planning on rearranging my work schedule so I can make some time.
Mm-hmm.
I can schedule you too. There's a few people who said no. When do you want to be? 8:30 in the morning?
Yeah.
So, let's say that it is Ash Wednesday, which is an official day of fasting and abstinence.
Now, to fill you in on what these words mean, in case you're not familiar with them, fasting refers to, well, fasting from food. Typically, the proper procedures for this is one meal during the course of the day that is relatively small, not a large meal, or at least medium sized. It should be somewhat restrained compared to what that meal would normally be for you.
Not extravagant.
Yes, and you can have two other snacks during the course of the day, but the total of the two snacks together should not be equivalent to another meal.
Yes. And the fasting rule is between 18 and 59 that you have to follow it. And if you have some medical condition where you need to eat every so often or you have to take medicine with foods, you are allowed to go and not follow the fasting rule for your health.
Yes. However,
Now, that does not mean you should be eating chocolate pudding all day when you take your medicine.
That was yesterday.
Yes.
And for those of you who, due to either age or health concerns, are not recommended to be practicing the fasting, it is recommended that you find some alternative means of drawing closer to the Lord during this time.
And abstaining means that we don't eat meat. And that's because meat is delicious and amazing. And so we give it up as a bit of a sacrifice.
Yes, and the rule for that is for people who are 14 and over. So that way small children who are still growing don't have to worry about, getting enough protein. Although in modern times we do have ways to get protein that isn't animals. Historically it was a big problem, so the church wants to make sure that everyone stays healthy, just grows closer to God by changing their day-to-day life so they think more about things.
Mm-hmm. And so Ash Wednesday is the beginning of the great season of Lent.
Which, as we discussed yesterday, is a period of time during which, much like Jesus, after his baptism, going off into the desert to spend time with his Father, to prepare for the mission that was ahead of him, we too spend time in a sort of metaphorical desert, getting closer to God, and preparing ourselves for the mission that we are actually in the midst of right now, but more importantly, are being continually commissioned to go out into.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is always our mission, but that was a season of just a special focus.
Yes.
On that desert experience of readying ourselves. Because, after all, Easter is the fulcrum of all human history. So it seems right that we should spend just a little bit of time really preparing our hearts. Being in the desert, it's an experience of testing. It's where a lot of superficial things are taken away. And so a lot of people think that the best and most important thing you should do in Lent is give something up.
Yes.
About which Nate has very strong opinions.
I do, because quite oftentimes, at least in the circles that we travel, you hear people who talk about what they're giving up, and what you're giving up should be something of significance. It should be something that poses a barrier between you and God, something that by moving it out of the way, you can get closer. But yet there are a lot of people who, much like they did when they were kids, give up chocolate.
Listen, chocolate milk was very hard to give up when I was in 5th grade. Your only choices at lunch was chocolate milk or this really gross skim milk that always tasted a little bit off.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but
You're not in 5th grade anymore.
you're not in 5th grade anymore.
True.
Giving up, in
I could
fairness,
get strawberry milk
and in fairness,
or vanilla milk.
You can go to the store and get whatever you want.
and in fairness, you're diabetic, so really giving up chocolate should be like already top of the list kind of a thing. But
You're just trying to get my good, 95% dark chocolate.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Just because it's good for you doesn't mean it's not good for everyone.
It's, But no, seriously speaking, there are a number of people who tend to see the giving up of something to be more a practice of giving up of something and less a practice of getting closer to God. So for those of you out there who are considering giving up something superficial, chocolate, I don't know.
This will scandalize you. Some people give up alcohol.
I don't see how that poses a boundary between them and God. I mean,
How's that going to draw anyone closer to God?
But in all fairness, if that does pose a boundary between you and God, good, give it up.
Mm-hmm.
Heck, if something like that poses a boundary, don't just give it up for Lent. Give it up altogether. If you're smoking, things like that, this is an excellent time to jumpstart that plan to get those out of your life.
Yes, it's like a New Year's resolution then, only you don't have to wait in line for everyone else with their diet and their gym memberships.
Exactly. Now,
But that is not the point of Lent, so let's get back onto that.
yes.
So, less than giving something up, perhaps what is more important is to take something up, to begin a new practice. The church has, from ancient times, proposed 3 disciplines that are tried and true to develop the spiritual life: prayer,
Fasting.
and almsgiving. Prayer. You should pray more. I don't care if you're a priest. Hi, Father. If you're a deacon. If you're just the very interested layperson sitting in the pew. Or if you're the truly random YouTube surfer who may not even believe in God. Whoever you are, you need to pray. And you probably need to pray more.
Now, fasting, whenever we talk about it, we think about food. But in reality, fasting can be a lot of things. Perhaps for your fasting, you choose something that doesn't necessarily pose a boundary for you, but might pose a slight hardship for you to go without. Say, for example, video games. I've done that once. That was a little rough, but it was not more than what I was capable of handling.
But you were less spiritually mature than you are now.
Yes,
We hope.
I'm pretty sure. But it can be anything really. You just it goes along with the whole giving something up for Lent. It's basically the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
You're taking something that you do not necessarily need to have in your life that might if it's not in your life as much, you might be able to get closer to God.
Think of it as removing a distraction.
Yes.
Not giving something up for the sake of giving it up, but giving it up to unclutter your life and allow the voice of God to be heard more clearly. And then,
I was going to say, although, do not give up YouTube.
No.
1, if you're watching this on Ash Wednesday, you're already watching it.
do not fast from social media. Social media is very enlivening. It'll help you develop your faith. It'll help you deepen your faith. Social media can be very good.
Feel free to restrict what aspects of social media you are going to delve into. We all know that there are some people out there who perhaps are not the most spiritually rewarding in what they have to say on the internet. So feel free to maybe push those ones aside. Maybe limit how often you go onto Facebook and whose posts you're going to read.
But there are lots of good Catholic YouTubers. So perhaps a Lenten discipline you could adopt is to find a few more and subscribe to their channels.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. But there's also almsgiving. An acknowledgement that everything we have, all the material goodness that we enjoy, is a gift from God. And that includes our money. And so it's not yours. It doesn't belong to you. My money doesn't belong to me. It's just a gift. And we will be judged by how we steward what God has given us. And we'll put a link up before, because we talked about stewardship.
I think so.
Yes. And we should, while we're pointing out treasure, we should also point out the other two T's: time and
Tacos.
Time and tacos.
Time and talent.
Oh,
Right,
that's right. We're
right,
fasting today. No
right.
tacos.
No tacos today.
A meatless taco? What's the point?
Well, unless it's a fish taco.
Some people like those.
Sure.
But no, as far as the almsgiving, giving actual monetary alms is a very good thing, and if you can afford to do that, then you should. If you can't, or if you already are and you're looking for something more, consider giving of your time or of your talents. Perhaps there's something that you could be doing for someone that you know who may not be able to do it for themselves. Shoveling driveways or things of that sort. Or spending time with a neighbor who maybe doesn't get out as much and doesn't have as many family members coming by to see him.
Once you start looking around, you don't have to look very hard to find someone who could use your help. So, prayer, fasting, almsgiving. Let's close with what each of us plans to do to develop our faith during this Lenten season.
You can go first, Mike, if you'd like.
You have visual aids.
You have visual aids.
I brought props. So, I've got reflections on the Lenten Gospel readings from Bishop Robert Barron. I receive these in my email box every morning, but I did this during Advent. I got the book with all the reflections, and I'm telling you, there's a difference between reading something on a screen and reading it on the printed page.
Well, it's the fun of the smell of dead trees and soy ink.
That's history right there, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
It is. It's lovely. Also, for several years now, I've participated in Dynamic Catholic's Best Lent Ever program, where they will send you a video reflection, again, into your email box every day. Today, this year, I've added the Lenten Journal, which has a focus and a reflection, and, I have to journal my responses, which means I'm going to have to really think about it.
There you go.
And the big one that I've decided to take on this Lent, and I'm really going to need you folks to pray for me, is I'm finally going to do what I've been meaning to do for the last several years.
Get more rainbow-colored ribbons.
More rainbow-colored ribbons. All the ribbons. I'm going to attempt to pray the Liturgy of the Hours. This is the formal prayer of the Church. All priests and religious pray this, but the laity are also encouraged to do so. I'm going to try to start off nice and simple with just morning prayer, see how that goes, and then hopefully I can add an evening prayer to it also. But I won't be able to do this on my own. I need the strength of the Holy Spirit, and I need people holier than me to intercede on my behalf. Jess?
I am going to go and spend more time in our chapel. And I just want to say, I thought of this before Father and Bethine went on about the chapel, because our chapel has been in continuous use for 25 years, so we had a big party about it.
Yeah, and they went around asking everybody suggesting to everybody who may not have already been somebody who spends time in the Adoration Chapel on a regular basis to consider whether or not they can commit to spending some time there. I, myself, spend 1 hour a month, and I'm actually really looking to increase that to a little bit more time. So I too, along with Jess, will be looking into spending time in the Adoration Chapel. And I'm also going to be continuing to work on the work I've already started for this year of, as Mike pointed out, praying more. A little bit here and there, but every little bit is more.
So, prayer, fasting, almsgiving. And in a similar vein, like, subscribe, comment.
Yes. please comment below with anything that you might be giving up for Lent. Perhaps you'd like to get prayers about, much like Mike, you have something you're going to be picking up that is going to be difficult for you, or something that you're putting down that might be a little difficult for you, and you want us to pray for you. Feel free to put that down in the comments. We read every single one of those things, and we will be happy to pray for anybody who asks it. Especially me, because I need to pray more.
So, it's an act of charity. You'll be helping Nate.
Yes. So, until next time, remember, live your faith.
Love your faith.
Share that love.